Hello, I'm Mike with WriterSanctuary, and today we're going to be playing around with contextual related posts in WordPress. It's a contextual related post is a great plugin, and it'll help you show off posts that are related to the piece of content that somebody's already reading. The idea is to keep them on your website for as long as possible. So if they come across something that says something you might also like or something similar, you've probably seen these on other websites, then it gives you a list of articles that are relevant to the one that they're reading, piques their interest, they might click on it, keeps them on your site. The more pages per view or pages per visitor that you get, the better. So that's the whole idea. This whole thing is to keep them on your site for as long as possible. And today we're going to be playing around with it. I use contextual related posts on WriterSanctuary, Crossing Colorado, and Colorado Plays, and I'm going to be adding it to 2-Bar Kingdom today. In this video, actually. Will you stop? She's my co-host. This is partly why I do videos more than anything, because people will not leave me alone. Anywho, let's just dive right into it. Give me a second here and I'll switch. That is Photoshop. Wrong app. Oh, there we go. And then we'll switch it to Vroom. There we go. This is the new blog. And I got the chat open. Okay. And you're stuck in my shirt. Okay, so when we're adding contextual related posts, we go to our plugins. We're going to add a new one. Contextual related posts. Whoop, how about we click add new first? That's a great start, Mike. Contextual related posts. So this is all going to be raw footage. Okay, anyway, contextual related posts. What we're going to be clicking on here is the CRP. It's made by WeberZone. We're going to click on install now. And activate. And this particular website uses Lightspeed cache, so it purges everything. But anytime you add a new plugin, it'll purge the cache automatically. Quite convenient. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the settings first. So we're going to go over to settings and go to related posts here at the bottom. And then we're going to be looking at all the different things we can set. Now, by default, this should be pretty much everything you need. You can start using it now. I would suggest tailoring it to your specific website. And I'm only going to change a few things here just so we can get going. Cache posts and cache HTML, I'm not going to worry about because I already have a caching plugin that does all that. And it could help in performance, but I don't want to run experiments on it just quite yet. So we're just going to leave those default. We're going to disable pages though, because with pages are mostly for like your static content, your about us, your contact form. So there's not really going to be a lot that's relevant and related to those posts or pages. So I'm not going to worry about adding it because it's just going to cause performance issues because technically it has to load the database of all that stuff and there's really nothing to share. So I'm not going to worry about it. The display location, at 999, this should put it at the very end of the article. I'm not exactly sure how the position works, so for something like that you might want to experiment with. Change the different numbers and see where your posts pop up. But leave me alone. The same with the insert after paragraph number. You can have it have the message with the related post appear after a certain number of paragraphs. So again, something you might want to experiment on your own site. I'm leaving it at -1. That means it's going to put it dead last. Disable on mobile devices. You can enable that. Disable on AMP. Essentially, it's the same thing. AMP and mobile, advanced mobile pages for Google. Accelerated mobile pages. So either one of these, I mean, I haven't really needed to turn them off. So again, it'll be up to your website and how it runs. Delete options on uninstall. So if you remove the plugin, it'll delete all of your settings for it. Keeping the database clean, that's kind of handy. Full text indexes, okay, and all this other stuff should be okay at default or as their default settings. Like I said though, doesn't hurt to experiment, try a few things out on your own website and see what works best for you. So I'm going to save the general tab. Then in the list tuning, this is how many posts that we're going to set to show at any given time. At the most, I want 5. I think anything past that is a little excessive. I've seen a lot of websites just keep it at 3, so personal preference. Many posts should be newer than. This is how many days. I want things to be as fresh as possible, so I'm going to keep it at 365 days. So the post has to be published within the last year in order to be shown. I don't want to show off outdated stuff. But that also depends on all kinds of different things, whatever kind of content you create. So if you created like my Buy Me a Coffee post on WriterSanctuary, I wrote that like 3 years ago, and it's still one of the most popular pages on WriterSanctuary or post. I would still like that to be viewed, so I'd probably increase that to 365 times 3, so more than 1,000 days. So that might be worthwhile, or you can just hit 0 to disable limiting posts by date in the first place. Order posts by relevance. Yes, I'd rather keep the relevance. You can do it by randomly or by date. You can enable randomized posts based on the title and content. Obviously, you'd want this checked because that would defeat the purpose of having contextual related posts if the posts aren't related to the content. You might as well just use the related post from Jetpack. Limited content to be compared. So these are the different, the maximum words the content will be matched. There's no limit by default. I want at least 1. That way it's always going to be relevant. Posted types to include. I'm not going to worry about pages. I'm just saying post type. So I'm going to check this only because that I plan on using custom post types later on. And this will keep posts showing posts instead of posts showing something else from the depending on the custom post type I create. I don't care about the same author because I'm the only one writing in the blog. Limit the same primary term. So like if you let me see if I can do a good example here. So if enabled, then it will only select posts from the primary category term. So like if you're, say with my Buy Me a Coffee post, I have that saved in the category of monetizing a blog. And so any other posts, if I click that to enable it, any other posts from that primary category for monetizing, even though it's a child category, will only show. So it keeps those like hyper focused. So depending on the type of content and how you have your categories and tags set up, that might be worthwhile. But at that point, you'd really need quite a bit of content inside those categories in order for it to be worthwhile. Only from same, I'm going to enable tags. This means that all the tags that I use in my posts that are related will only show in that article. So like if somebody visits my Readsy review of the writing app, well, with the tags enabled, then they'll be able to see all of the other posts that I tagged specifically for Readsy. So they're already interested in reading about Readsy. They might be interested in reading more about Readsy. So I'm going to leave tags, but this is a completely different blog, but I'm going to use the same principle. And the rest of these are personal preference. So yeah, we're going to leave them as default for now. Hey, how are you? Hey, Linda Ray. We are playing around with WordPress. Then we have the output. This is what it looks like by default. So the heading of the posts, you can change this heading to whatever you want. Make sure you're inside the coded headings, otherwise it'll screw things up. So you can put something like, you might also, also like, and then show when no posts are found if it's just a blank output, or you can put show a display custom text, so you can put in whatever you want. Sorry, nothing to share. I'm just gonna go blank. Show post excerpt. If you have an excerpt on your post, it'll contextual related post will take that excerpt and show it next to the title. If you enable it, could help, but not really. I guess I can't say not really, because then people can read what the excerpt is about, what the post is about. They might be interested in continuing to use it. So, I love WordPress. I just had an issue with the HubSpot Gravity form integration. Oh, I haven't tried HubSpot's Gravity form. I use WP forms. The length of the excerpt that you can show. If I ever enable it, I'm going to do it at least 20. Show the date, show the author. So if you have more than one author on your blog, you can enable that. It'll show the author next to the title. So if sometimes people get fans. You can enable this to open up the links to do a new window. Add no follow to links. I don't know why you'd want to if you're working on SEO, but some people might want to do a no follow to link. So that option's there. Exclusions, you can exclude any posts that you get, or any posts that you have that you do not want to share. HTML display, this is before the list of posts. You can do it as a unordered list, or you can set it as an ordered list. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and save changes on that. The thumbnail, I'm not going to display any thumbnails, only text. Oops, wrong one. Do not display thumbnails, only text. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because every image that you load on your website is going to slow it down. I'm going to do 5, and it might impact the site performance a little bit. This is a brand new site on a separate server than the rest of mine, so doing thumbnails probably shouldn't affect it all that much. So if you want to show thumbnails on your own, I suggest enabling it and then running a page speed insight off of Google to see if it actually makes a difference on your performance. If not, then keep it. I'm not going to worry about display thumbnails though. And thumbnail sizes, none of that's going to be relevant because I disabled it, but you have all these different options in case you want to enable your thumbnails. So I'm going to hit Save Changes. Make sure you hit Save Changes on every tab that you use. And then Styles. Styles will show what kind of thumbnails you want to do if you're showing thumbnails. I'm not. So, but yeah, you have all these different examples of what the thumbnails will look like with the text, the date. You can see that some of these have examples of the excerpt. So, and if you know custom CSS, or if you know CSS, you can put in your custom CSS code there. And I'm just going to hit Save Changes because that's all I did. We were watching a movie, but Trevor put you on the big screen. Bam. I'm on TV, everybody. And then you have the feed. I don't really worry too much about setting up the feed for it. It's going to go by its default settings anyway, so that is how you set up the contextual related post settings for this plugin. So now let's take a look at what it looks like. Okay, so with WriterSanctuary, I think if I go into the titles, look a little smooshed because I'm using a much smaller resolution for streaming. So in case you're wondering what the hell's wrong here, so if I want to go with that one, and then we're going to take a look at what it looks like from the front end. Bonk. Okay, so what we have is at the very bottom, and whoop, so they're right there. Right here is the contextual related posts. This particular one is set for having the title and showing the excerpt. I'm probably going to be changing that after Sunday. This was an experiment, and this is part of the case study that I was talking about earlier, so that with this case study I'm going to show if having contextual related posts on your website actually matters or not. Spoiler alert, it doesn't, at least not at this point. So I'm going to make a few adjustments and move where it shows, and then we'll run another test. So, but this is what it looks like on WriterSanctuary. It's at the very end. Now the problem with putting it at the very end of a blog post is that the majority of the people that go to your website aren't going to read all the way through it. In fact, most people are skimming, looking for specific pieces of information that they want, and then moving on. Sometimes you come across those who'll get interested in the content, they'll scroll down, read the author, and then they'll click on a related post if it piques their interest. But the vast majority of them don't. So that's why when you go to other blogs, you'll see it like up here somewhere in the middle. Like with this one here, I'd probably get rid of the ad and put the contextual related post there. So that's what it looks like on WriterSanctuary. So if we go to a post, we're going to create a new one just so I can show you what the plugin looks like. So here we can write our new blog post. Woo. There we go. Good times. Okay, so we're going to add a block. So by default, we have it set to where it'll show on all posts. Now we can disable that to where the plugin won't show on any posts, and we can put it in manually, which is partially what I prefer to do anyway. But like I said, this is kind of an experiment. So if we go to related posts on this one and we disable that, that means that it will not automatically add it to the end or wherever you choose. So if we disable that, that means we have to put them in manually. So this, what we do is we add a new block. Bam. And we're looking for contextual related posts. And from here, we can click on the block settings. And so let's go to the bottom of landing pages for this reason. Yeah. Trevor is bragging about being a boomer who can type 60 words per minute. Hey, 68 on my last test without my glasses on. So we have, we can show our heading, and in this case, let's say we want to change this to, you might also like, and then we're going to make it 5. Number of posts to skip from the top. We'll leave that at default for now. Now from here, see, as you can see, it's only showing the title. Now if we want to show the excerpt, we just click that guy there and it shows the excerpt from each post. Now we don't necessarily want to do that on this one. And then if you want to show the author, boom. Look, they're all by me. We can also do it by date. If we want to show, I disabled thumbnails, so it's not going to show them. With his eyes closed, yep. May the force be with you. Or we can randomize it. Boom, and changes them. Enter other attributes in URL style query, so we can put in different attributes for it if we wanted to, but that's kind of advanced. We're not going to worry about that just yet. We're just trying to keep things easy. So there we have it. So there we have this dealie here. Now, if we go back up, we can see that it's using the H3 header, which is fine. Because when we look at it, see we have the title, H1, it's not even showing. How weird. Wonder why it doesn't show it. It doesn't show it on WriterSanctuary either. Like normally when you create a header, it'll show it in the list. So like if we did how to use related posts, and we change this guy to H2, as you can see, it shows it up on the list in the outline. So, cutie kitty, yeah, that's Shadow. She's cute, all right. But for some reason, it won't pull it for from the contextual related post. I'm gonna have something to do with the plugin because it won't show it in the when you do a table of contents either. So, like if I did a, I don't know if I have table of contents installed on this one. Oops. Nope, I don't. Well, we might have to do one of these for a table of contents. So, my point is that you can add a block manually, and then you can move it anywhere you want in the post. I am probably going to keep it like this simply because I like the idea of being able to place it wherever I want. And so, in that case, I'm going to move it closer to the top, probably right before an H2 somewhere, or a major separation of the blog post. That way, it catches someone's eye. They either click on it then, or they might scroll back and click on it afterwards. So, but there we have it. That is how easy it is to use contextual related posts. I like this plugin because it'll show the blog post according to the content of your blog post. So as this changes, so will this. So that's one of the best things about it, mostly because people are they're already interested in the content that they're visiting. They're already there for a reason to read about it. So when you come across something that's related contextually, which means it's similar in the content, then they might continue to keep reading it. And there we go. Let's see. Do you prefer Elemental? I don't use blocks anymore. Elementor? Maybe? I don't know what Elemental is, but Elementor is it's a visual editor for WordPress that works great. The last time I tested it, it crashed out of Computer Center's website, but that's my junk site that I use for testing, so that thing's probably jacked up as it is. So I can't really say that it was Elementor that broke the site. Between Elementor and probably the slew of things that are wrong with that website. So what I'm probably going to do is just delete ICC and reinstall WordPress. That's the whole reason why I have Computer Center was my business from like 2008, and I kept the website, I kept the domain because I use the email still for everything. So nowadays I use out of Computer Center's website as a testing ground for live WordPress, because I also have WordPress installed locally on my machine, which is great for testing out plugins and stuff. But I wanted a live version. That way, when something's live on the internet, I can see how it works online, which is a lot different than doing it on a local machine. So that site is purposely broken on a regular basis. So Elementor probably was just the straw that broke the camel's back. So, but Elementor, from what I've seen, is a great plugin. What's another good one? I use Site Origin, Page Builder. WP Bakery is not bad. Beaver Builder is another popular one that people like. But Elementor has a lot of stuff to it. Even the free version is pretty flexible. So I use Forms for lead magnets, so it works better. But for blogs, Blocks is great. See, I use WP Forms for my contact form, and that's about it. I don't, but then again, you guys run a business, have a website. I don't. Well, I kind of do. I got some, I wouldn't say clients for my contact form. Mostly it's been sponsorships. So like in 2021, I made a ton of money from sponsorships, sponsored posts on WriterSanctuary. So that's one of the big reasons why I'm like, always have a contact form. But so yeah, I I prefer WP Forms, but only because I've been using it forever, and it's just the best one that works for me. When it comes to forms like that, it that's all it really boils down to, because there's so many that work really well anyway, that it all comes down to personal preference, which one works best for you. The hardest part I've found, now I'm pretty sure Google probably fixed this by now, but I still haven't added reCAPTCHA. Back when I first added WP Forms to WriterSanctuary, um, reCAPTCHA was a pain in the ass to get to work right, because the instructions were all jacked up. Google was changing things around. Nothing. I couldn't find anything. It took me 3 days to add reCAPTCHA to my forms because I couldn't find anything. I'm fairly sure they got it all fixed up now, but my God. Love that for you. Well, thank you. Yeah, like for any blogger or writer, contact form. My contact forms have specific reasons to it, and I use it kind of as a first line defense against spam, because even though I do have a Kismet running and Honeypot, sometimes people will manually put in scam crap, and if you don't select the correct drop down to send me a message for what your email consists of, I delete it. So, in fact, I want to write a blog post next week about things I automatically delete in my inbox. It's more of a post of what not to do when you're cold emailing somebody, because there's a lot of things that I will toss in the trash immediately. For example, if someone says that they're representing such and such company, but they're coming from a Gmail account, nope, I delete it. If you don't have that company's confidence enough to have an actual domain name to your email address, I don't think you're professional enough. Now, there are times where I get emails from other bloggers. That's different. But when you're saying that I represent XYZ company, we want to share a blog post and all that, I ain't going to trust you. If you don't have their domain name on your email address, it's gone. I won't even read it. At least throughout the rest of it. Sometimes I will, out of sheer morbid curiosity, only because I like messing with scammers. It gives me something to do. So, brilliant effing topic, right? I'm telling you, I will. There's lots of email types I will toss. Or one thing I am going to put on my form is if you're peddling AI generated content tools, I will never use AI generated content of any kind. So trying to hit me up with tools for it ain't gonna happen. Oh look, I can see. So this took forever. Like all these little GIFs that are popping up, for the longest time when they first came out, I couldn't see them at all. And now I can see the hearts and the 100s. That's kind of cool. Although some of the people on Monday nights complain because the button for it is like right over top of their view of what people are saying. So, yeah, well, it's YouTube. So, but yeah, I think it's a great topic too. So we'll probably do that next week. But yep, so this is the fun of contextual related posts. I can't wait to see. Starting Sunday, I switched to this kind of format for WriterSanctuary, Crossing Colorado, and Colorado Plays to see if it helps with improving pages per viewer, because I keep track of that kind of stuff because I'm a dork with a spreadsheet. And so I have all kinds of data to share. So next week I'm also going to hopefully reclaim some of my AdSense money, because I disabled Vignette ads for this experiment, and WriterSanctuary lost 43% of its income. Crossing Colorado lost 77% of its income. And then Colorado Plays lost like 44% or something like that. So yeah, it was a kind of a significant drop just from disabling Vignette ads. So hopefully turning those back on will get me back to making a few bucks. So we love dorks with spreadsheets. Oh, and that I be. I love my spreadsheets. So anyway, if anybody has any questions about contextual related posts, feel free to leave a comment. It's pretty easy to do, and as you can see, There's all kinds of cool settings you can add to it. I would suggest experimenting a little bit to find the best settings for your own website. Uh, for me, I am going to stick with the manually placement of the block because, like I said, I can move it around. Oops, I can move it around, and if you use heat mapping is another fun one I might do a video about. But with heat mapping, you can actually see where people are scrolling and what they're clicking on your website. And so if you use heat mapping along with something like this, or even with AdSense, you can see where the best places are to put your stuff, where it'll get the most attention. So like if you're trying to sell your book, you could put it in a great place where people will actually see it. So we might do a heat mapping video in the near future. So I guess I will switch this back to me. Shoomp. Hey. Jesus, cat. Here you got AdSense. You got monetized. Oh no, I get AdSense on the blog. WriterSanctuary, Crossing Colorado, and Colorado Plays, Practically Living Green. All of my blogs are like instantly monetized. It takes far less effort for the blogs to get monetized by AdSense. I've seen people do it with one post that was about 2,500 words long, and Google authorized it. Normally I wait until I hit about 10 posts or more, and then I'll submit it to Google. So, but yeah, AdSense for YouTube, nah. I'm a far cry from that. I'm only at like 1.7 thousand watch hours. That's because of the type of channel I have. It's a writing channel that I do a lot of tutorials. So once somebody learns what they're looking for, they don't come back. Or they subscribe because of the text broker content, and I don't do text broker videos anymore because I outgrew it. It's kind of a bummer, but I wind up losing those guys too. So it is what it is. Hey, it's Trevor. I have to give you credit for doing an awesome live show. Yes, I see. Well, you didn't add. You should have added check somewhere. Oh, well, thank you. Like I said, the live shows are kind of fun on Fridays. Well, they're not as haphazard as Monday's shows, because with Monday's shows, we don't care. I try to stick to a topic, it just never happens. But with Fridays, I try to focus on one thing for WordPress, and then after this is done, I can edit the video in about 4 or 5 hours, at which point I'll cut off the first and last chunk of it, so it'll be a standalone video that does fairly well. The last one did about average. So, love you, man. Love you too. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I wish you guys lived closer. You guys live a far cry from Denver.